Hi everybody, this will be part 5 in the character texture creation tutorial series. Last video we talked about blocking out base materials for the body and then adding specific masks so that way this material is only going to affect certain areas of the body. So that's a good way to kind of block out detail so that way it's kind of easy to organize and set up. One other thing we can do is to start to add groups. So that way everything is kind of organized according to groups for the different body parts. So that way when I create a new folder or group, I can come in here to that folder and say, back it up, skin, and I can drag my human neck skin into the skin folder. Okay, that doesn't change anything visually. It just gives me an option to organize my textures a little more. So let's do another one. We will call this one shirt. Okay, and drag our shirt into there. Move up, create another one, and call this one pants. Oops, we actually need to pants. There you go. I'm gonna drag my fabric denim and this fill layer in there as well, because both of those are for my pants. There you go. We'll do one above that. Call this one shoes. Need to rename it shoes. There you go. Drag our leather shoes in there. We'll do another folder. This is going to be like mouth inside. Let's go back up. Mouth and eye inside. There you go. We'll do another one and we'll call this one eyes. Okay. All right. So organization is a key here. So the eyes, what we need to do is actually then create a duplicate layer for the iris and the pupil. So I have my plastic gloss pure, and I'm actually just going to duplicate that. I hold down Alt, click and drag up to make a copy. We can say pure, and this is going to be the white. Instead of copy, we'll say, let's do iris first, iris. So make a copy there. Let's make another copy. And we'll call this one pupil. All right, I'm gonna turn off my pupil so I can see my iris. Let's go ahead and change the color of this. Get this up some. So whatever kind of color we want, the character is more blue, so maybe we'll do blue irises. Okay, and instead I'm gonna delete this mask. So let's do remove mask. And I'm going to add a new mask to this. We'll do a new black mask. And I'm actually going to go to my regular brush tool. And then in brushes, we'll do a basic hard brush. And we want to make sure we're changing our alignment to UV, size, space to texture. And then I'm going to come in here and try to draw in. Let's do the bracket keys to scale this down. Here's where I usually come in and turn on my wireframe. So under display settings, let's turn on wireframe so I can see this. Let's pull up my wireframe opacity as well. So that way I know where the center of my eye is. I know that center crosshair there is the center of my eye. So let's come in here and click and drag that out. I think the character, well, we might want to move outward a little bit. So there. Oh, well, we'll just do in the center. And then what we can do from the model standpoint is just rotate the eye from the model standpoint. Let's see how big that is. That's pretty big for an iris, so let's scale it back some. Yeah, that's kind of, that's okay. Oh, does it look like a little larger? That's all right. It's a little more stylized of an iris as far as shape and size. So my eyeball is facing directly forward, so what our eyes actually do is rotate out a little bit, and I can change that back in the Maya file, the actual 3D position, rotation of the eye. That's pretty good. We'll start there. So that will have the same exact kind of reflection as the white of the eye. We can always make more adjustments to that later. But so there's our iris, and then I can come up here to the pupil and do the same thing. So let's remove that mask. And let's come in here and add a black mask back to it. And then this time with this material, we're going to change this to black. Maybe we're just a really dark version. We'll just do a full black right now. That's fine. All right, so go back to the mask, and with our brush tool, we're just going to scale this down some, zoom in so we can get pretty close. There you go. That looks pretty good. Yeah. What we could do is make this a scalable option within a material, so we can dilate those pupils if we want to. But overall, that's a pretty good starting point. I'm going to turn off my wireframe. There you go. Maybe the iris is too colorful for the character. That's just a visual art decision there, so we can dial that back some. A little bit of blue, not too crazy of a blue. But each one of these adjustments, we're going to make it so that we can, change that color to a completely different color. So we make it red or green or blue, whatever we want to do there. So that way it's procedural. And as I change the color of the skin, I can also change the color of the iris as well if I wanted to. All right, so that's a way we can add some more detail to the eyes. We can do other things like with some of these other tools to do the veins and whatnot on here. There's a lot of other individual detail we can do. We can add, like if we wanted to do veins or smaller decals or detail, let's just go into the eyes again, and we'll do some simple veins as well. Okay, so over the whites of the eyes, let's create a new, new layer. So this time I'm just going to do just a new blank layer, and we'll call this one veins. Okay. In the next video, we'll come back and do smart materials, and we'll talk about how to use some of the smart materials to do veins as well. It's a pretty good smart material that has skin veins that we can use for eyes and things like that also. But we could also come in here with some of these tools, like maybe, I don't know, chalk spread might be interesting to look at. And with a brush, let's come over here and change the color. Maybe this character doesn't have red veins, maybe orange veins or whatnot. Can always do a color adjustment later. Do orange. There you go. So let's make our brush much smaller. Yep, it's really small. There you go. So that might still be too large for veins. Let's do chalk thin. It might be helpful as well. See if we can see it from the side view there. Might need a darker color, so let's use a darker color. Really dark, maybe really saturated red or something like that. There we go. So veins. There we go. So we can start to see it come up on there. All right. So I'm just dragging really from the outside in. And what we're trying to build is just some more variety of color textural detail. You can kind of see it's adding a pretty good detail here around the corners of the eye. And I'm going to do more than what I can see in the 3D view because when I want the eye to rotate, I want to be able to see it going all the way around. So we'll continue to drag all the way around here. And I'm not being too particular. But I am trying to add, a variety of line work, something like that. Okay, so we'll continue moving down to the bottom part. The reflection map is making some of this kind of be difficult to see here, but I'm really trying to create some organic detail there. So let me turn this layer off. So pretty flat. That can add some more variety and detail. So with my brush, maybe I'll come back with darker color, maybe even a little bit more red and darker red, and add some more lines with a darker color. Peer up into it a little more. So that way I have even more variety. So that's some easy ways to kind of add some interesting variety, textural detail. I'm just going to kind of work my way around. With an individual layer. This is not a fill layer. Okay, that's already looking pretty good. So I can also be turning on off. So work with individual layers here also. Perhaps I can come back and do some iris detail as well. So let's do another blank layer. Maybe we'll do like some yellow lines here for the iris. Try to keep adding some more variety here. So this one, maybe what we can do is take center corner point, and if I hold down Shift, that can create like an exterior line to it. Let's create charcoal fine. Let's look at this. Let's scale this down a lot more. There you go. See what that looks like. Let's try. Good time to save if we can. Let's try to save as. So that way we don't have to hopefully lose our stuff. Save periodically as well. Find my model folder. Character textures. So that way we've done a lot of work. It's a good idea to go ahead and save. I'm going to finish saving there. All right. So just trying to do some exterior lines. If I hold down Shift, that'll create a straight line between those points. And I'm just trying to create some lines outward to try to build some variety. And then we'll try to blend it back with this base layer here. Maybe we'll come in and change the color some. So maybe we'll do like a darker blue this time. Really dark blue. That one's not showing up too well here. So let's just try a basic hard brush that's really small. How is that gonna work? Oh, too big. All right, so let's go back to chalk thin. I guess that'll work. Allow me to get a line at least. There you go. So let's just add in some darker lines throughout it. See if I can get some smaller lines, some other things. Oh, this dark color is not really showing up too well. Let's try lighter blue. There we go, that one's showing up some. So we're trying to add some lines to kind of blend this through. Now we just need a lot of color variety and whatnot, but to get the point of view, we can do some iris color variety. And then what I can do is with that blend mode for that layer, just dial that back a lot more. There you go. So sometimes a little bit of variety can go a long way in making that detail look more natural. So I've just blended that opacity down for that layer much lower here. Okay. Layers in Substance Painter also have blending modes as well, so you could try some different blending modes. Linear dodge, add, lighten, inverse. Try some of these other ones as well. Hard light, that looks kind of cool on there. What I wanted was just some more variety with that line work, so it's not just a simple flat shade there. We can also do some variety with the pupil as well. So that's how we can add some more refinement to the base materials by just adding blank layers and then drawing on your own details. So this can also be done for scars, for decals, for designs throughout the character as well. Just other ways that we can add more detail with just simple layers. All right, next video we're going to talk about smart materials and how to add detail that is looking at the geometry, but also has a lot more variety in how these materials are set up.